Infinity AAA project, and I've identified a problem in my garden, and I know that there's a lot of people out there that have this issue, especially this year, okay? And it's the yellow squash vine borer. And this episode of Infinity Solutions, we're attempting to create a viable habitat for the yellow squash vine borer, which comes from a moth that will visit you in the night, plant its eggs, and then the larva is born and eats your plants from the inside out. What you see on the screen right now is just a section of the yellow squash vine, and you can see how the larva burrows its way, okay, or bores its way through, eating all of the insides and all of the structure of this plant, okay, effectively cutting off, usually it does it down towards the base, and it will cut off the entire branch or piece of the vine, okay, wherever this worm is at. So if you've got a really long stem that has, squash on it, like we do, this little bugger right here cut the entire vine off from the rest of the plant, effectively killing all of my squash. Okay, the way that this acts tells me, or it makes me feel like this is a genetically modified creature. Okay, just purposely put in place to destroy squash. Okay, now, do I know that for sure? No, but that's what my first instinct tells me. Okay, it could have happened a long time ago. There's really no purpose that I know of, okay, other than destroying the squash. So what we're going to do, instead of trying to kill it, okay, we're going to create an artificial squash plant, okay, that will harbor these moths and make them feel comfortable, so that the energy that's giving off looks like and feels like the inside of this squash vine. Okay, and that's what we're recreating here. Is we're just recreating nature. Okay, but we're using plastic tubing, copper wires, and nano coating. The custom caustic for the yellow squash. And when I made my caustic, I removed the little larva that was in it. Okay, because its DNA and its energy is still on the inside. I cut a section about this size, as you can see on the screen, compared to this guy's fingers. And to me, because that's where that worm is sitting, that is the prime conditions for life for that particular larva, okay, and moth. And so I cut out that little section right there, just like this, okay? All of these images I got off of Google, and I thank the people that have posted these pictures very much so. They're not mine. I don't claim the rights to them. They're here for educational purposes. Now, we're just trying to recreate those situations and that conditions, right? What you can see on the screen now is at the base of a squash plant, okay, where it has completely obliterated and digested the vine, okay? And you can see how devastating this is to the squash and to people like myself who enjoyed the yellow squash. So we're going to come up with a solution, and I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised. Okay. All right. You're going to shake your head because it is so simple, okay? Everything that we see in nature that's a plant, it's got a root system, and then it's got some sort of a stalk or a vine or, something that grows out of the center that comes up, and then the leaves will branch off, or the branches will come off, and then the leaves will come out and catch all the light, and then it'll feed itself, okay? That's how this works. Well, we're just recreating all of that, okay? And what I've done is I've taken some of my famous 8-gauge wire here, okay? And I've just created 2 spirals on the end, all right? They're being nano-coated right now, and you can see that I've just nano-coated this end and this end, okay, with my plant caustic, okay, yellow squash caustic that I made, okay? And all I did was take that piece of squash, I chopped it up with some scissors, I put some only sodium hydroxide, okay, probably, I don't know, maybe 2-3 tablespoons tops, okay, into a little jar, and I filled that up with water, okay, boiling water, and I let it break down the stuff, okay, all of the squash that's inside. And this is what the caustic is, okay? This is what's left after you have that chemical reaction, okay? Now don't get too tied up on the word chemical, because remember, we're using all natural ingredients, even if it is a concentrated form of it, okay? But this is my caustic solution, okay? And I've dipped the tip of this, okay, which will be sticking up out of the ground, okay? This is the top of my plant. This is going to represent each nodule, okay, where the branches will come out, okay? And these particular 4-way plastic air valve holders, okay, I've just drilled a hole through the center, okay, and I've ran my wire through the center, and then I used hot glue to hold it in place, okay? The point here, if we can do it, is that you want the space to be in between, okay? That's kind of the point here. And what's going to happen is I'm going to take some of these smaller wires that I've got that are nano coating outside, right here. Okay. I've used my plant caustic. I put it in my Coke bottle here. Okay. And you might be able to see some of them. Okay, I don't know, maybe. Let's see if we change the direction of light here. Okay. There you go. Some of those didn't coat all the way, okay? And so I just set it outside in the Coke bottle, okay? And I cut them all the same size here. Okay? Just shake it up, set it outside, set it and forget it, do whatever, okay? You can use these for your health pens. You can use these for anything you want, okay? You know, it is a natural caustic. But those are my little branches, as I call it. Okay. And so I've got 4 of these little tees, okay, or these 4-ways. I've got 4 of them. I've got 3 on the main stalk. Okay. Let me zoom out here. I've got 3 of them that are here on the main stalk. Okay. And then I've got a 4th one here that I've only drilled a hole through half of it, and I'm going to put it on the top, okay, on the very tip. And so what's going to happen is that I'm going to take these, because these are the roots, okay, and I've dipped this in a couple of different caustics. It doesn't matter as long as it's nano coated, okay. I've also dipped it in the squash, okay. Because what we're going to do is we're going to bury this in the dirt, okay, like their roots. Okay, this creates the grounding that you need, okay, and that the larva is seeking. Okay, that's why it eats the plants and it starts to grow, is because it's still connected to Mother Earth. All right, and so we're going to actually plant this in the ground like there's a roots, and we're going to treat this like a stalk of the plant. And we're going to treat each one of these, okay, like they're branches. And I will get 3 wires inside each one of these to branch off, okay? Now, when we do the branching off part, okay, there's going to be 3 of them. What you're going to be able to see is I'm going to go cut 3 of these pieces of wire real quick, okay? Because I don't want to use my nano-coated versions. Okay. And I'm going to make 3 of them so you can see the idea in a completed form. I'm slightly bending one end, okay? And I'm going to use these. My desk is a mess, guys. You can only see this 12-inch space. Not very nice. Okay. So what you're going to see here, guys, I'm going to take all those ends that I bent. Okay. I'm going to put them all together in my hand. And then I'm going to put them in here. Mind you, these are all nano coated. Okay. They will be. And now I've got a quick little setup. All right. Now, if we do it again, we'll see what this looks like with 3. So, you guys are wondering, I've got 1,000-foot rolls thanks to your guys' donations. They were actually supposed to be used for people who decided to move down here where I'm at, and they needed a job making money in some way, shape, or form so that they feel like they're doing something. And I bought all this 8-gauge wire because if you cut them off into 4-inch strips like this, okay, and place them in a water bottle, okay, I'm cutting up the rest of this wire, but if you place it in a water bottle or a pitcher or you know, your drinking water, things like that, it absorbs all the crap and the bad energies that are in your water, okay? Like the energy of fluoride, it'll absorb it, okay? Therefore, making fluoride in your water not an issue, okay? It absorbs everything. It's a full spectrum absorber. It's a sponge, okay? I'm utilizing it as a pen or as a conduit, okay, to transfer the plasma energy from the central core that you saw into these little tubes. All right. Well, these little tubes are the habitat. Okay. This is mimicking the stalk of the vine. All right. So we're giving it a place to live. And I made sure that it was big enough. Okay. I hot glued the end of a tube, smaller piece. Okay. And pieced it, and pieced it together. So this is a creative way to utilize the things that you've got. Maybe you're sitting around, okay? It's not an infinity per se, but it is an infinity solutions. Okay? And so now you're able to put this wherever you need to. These will be nano coated, so I will put hot glue to hold them in place, okay, on the outside, trying to be sure to plug all of the air from being in here, okay. Now remember, it's nano coating, it's nano coated, so the hot glue is not going to stick to it, all right. And if you were to wiggle it or pull this out or move it back and forth, you'll break. It creates a positive energy flow in there, which will attract that moth to lay its egg. It will think, okay, that it is the squash plant rather than being my squash plant. This way of thinking and problem solving will give you a solution for every one of your bug problems. Okay? I call this creating a distraction. Okay? Camouflage, creating a distraction without harming life. Okay? And so they're not going to go all the way down. I don't think. I might leave them that way. Okay, but I'm just putting it on here because they're sliding. Now I don't know what gauge tubing this is. I think it's just I say 8 gauge because it fits perfect. All right, the opening is 8 gauge, but I believe that this is fish tank air hose tubing. Okay, or maybe even IV. All right, so if you can imagine that each one of these, I'm going to fall out of my chair, okay, is going to be in each one of these. Okay, let's see if we can make this a better picture. So now I've got a little moth habitat that will allow its young, okay, to reproduce without harming the plant, without utilizing what was needed from the plant and killing the plant and keeping it from reproducing. Okay, we're giving it a habitat, guys. We're creating a sanctuary for. But overall, that's how I'm going to make my artificial squash plant. Okay, utilizing the root system, the shape of the spiral in which energy travels, light energy, okay, branches, and the stems. Okay, this spiral at the top is acting like a flower. Okay, probably in the ultraviolet spectrum that the moth can see at night, it will be able to pick up this energy field that is up here. Okay, this is the beacon. This is the bait. Okay, this is what's bringing it in. Okay, and in doing so, all that energy is going to transfer down through this wire. Okay, and I'm going to have the nano-coated wires that are inside of this. Okay, and I'll probably put a GANS water inside of these before I seal it. Okay, I don't think I need to. You know, I don't even think I'm going to. But the transfer of energy, even though there's air in there, okay, remember, plasma is weightless, okay, all of the outside of this has all been nano-coated. The inside of these have not been. Okay, I did not put any caustic inside of these because I wanted to test to see if it was going to have an effect. Okay, this one up here, as you can see, is inside of this plastic bag, which I've sealed off. Okay, this is the top. So I've got 2 that are nano-coated, 2 on the top, and then the 2 on the bottom, which are not. Okay, with the caustic. And then don't forget that we're going to bury the bottom into the ground, okay, to give it the negative polarity charge that it needs in order to operate. Okay. Pretty short, sweet, and simple. Okay, it's just little pieces. You can also utilize this with, you know, the options if you wanted to connect infinity loops out here. Okay, if you wanted to. It doesn't matter. Put a small infinity loop inside of that. Put your GANS inside, or your GANS water inside of it. Seal it with hot glue. Now you got a 3-point reactor. Okay, these are options, guys. don't have to just limit yourself. Okay, be a creator. That's what we're here to do. Create solutions. All right. I love you guys very much. If is there any questions out there whatsoever, please step forward to the microphone, identify yourself, and ask your question. I like it when there's no questions. That means that you guys understand. You don't have any questions whatsoever, and as of right now. So there's one question. It says, can you touch on how the wands help with different ailments, like, for example, cold infection or pain? All right, I'm not doing wands right now. I'm doing my squash plant. But think about the different usages for this, okay? You can make this artificial tree and make the caustic solution like I showed you for any plant, okay? If you decide that you're going to use infinity and, you know, like a central core for infinity, you would put your infinity in place of where this T is, okay? If you were to do this, and you would make your tree, okay, do whatever, but the idea is that you need to have a complete closed infinity loop, okay, the figure 8 or quad core or whatever it is that you want to make, okay, and nano coat it with your plant, okay, whatever you turn into your caustic. You know, if looking for a smaller one here, okay, which pen is my prop, it seems. If I was to nano coat this with, let's say I put some tomatoes in a caustic and I just had tomatoes in there, okay, I got a little piece of the plant, I got a piece of the fruit, I got a little piece of everything in there, right? I chopped it all up. I had my sodium hydroxide, 100% lye drain opener, a couple of teaspoons of it, tablespoons, and then add boiling water and let it sit. Okay, it'll break it down, and when you do so, you nano coat. You take that liquid and you dip your device into it. You have to make sure that it's closed off, okay, that it's in infinity, all right, to complete the entire circuit. And when it does so, okay, it's constantly cycling, guys. It's constantly cycling back and forth at 1 trillion times per second. And that light is going to crash into itself eventually when it gets full up from absorbing all of this energy, okay? And when it does so, it's going to express out from the center. And when you do something like that, you're creating an energy bubble of tomato, okay? I'm creating an energy bubble with this yellow squash, okay? And I just built a structure so that I can get a moth to come in and light on it, okay? Lay its eggs. It isn't the squash itself, it's the signature of the squash that is attracting the moth. And that's what we're recreating, is the signature that is attracting the moth to it. And that signature will show up in these tubes, okay? And it will lay its eggs in there. You can do this for anything. Any plant, any food, okay? You can put this inside of your house after it's done and, you know, just leave it near anything and you will absorb the energy of tomato, okay? You will absorb the energy from squash. Even being near this little tree here, okay? If I was to come up to the ends, it's kind of like a lotus flower from the Egyptian times, okay? It's the same concept, right? The plasma is going to come out the wire, okay, because it's nano-coated. It'll come out the wire through the tube, and it will connect to the plasma and make it, because it's a superconductor, it'll just connect the energy there to everything in the center. You've created a nerve system, okay? So now that plant that you've created using nanotechnology is going to have a sense of awareness of what's going on the ends here, because you've nano coated, it's become a superconductor, a room temperature superconductor. And when we're doing this kind of stuff, guys, you can make the trees as big as you want. Okay, you can make any tree you want. You just need a piece of the nano material. If it's wood, burn it. Okay, if it's if you want to, burn all of it, and it's broken down into its nanoform. You can burn a whole squash, like we tell you to burn a banana. Okay, so for any pest out there, this is the kind of designs that you need. Okay. Lori says, will you place it away from your garden? Okay. Yes. You want it to be a distraction. Okay. So what does our big media do right now for a distraction? They go out and put up some sort of a fake bombing and tell you a whole bunch of people died, so you look that way, right? And everything is happening on that side. Okay. Well, that's what we're going to do with this kind of thing, is that we're going to move this or place this somewhere off, away from the garden, away from the squash plants, okay? But not too far away, because we want the moths to be attracted to the area. And then we've got a large squash patch, so we want to keep it in the area. No questions on YouTube? Any other from the regular group? New people? Okay. Don't be ashamed, or don't feel like you need to hide. It's okay if you want to come talk. All right. You don't have to have your video on. You don't have to do anything. If you just got a question, get online and talk, and we'll get it answered. There's no dumb question here, guys. Don't be intimidated by the plasma technology, the terminology that we use, things like that. You'll see a lot of correlation between nature and you'll see massive correlation between nature and what we're doing here. So we're just building trees and creating the same conditions for these moths. All right. That being said, I do appreciate everybody's attendance today. I'm going to go ahead and get offline. And everybody, please stop recording. Thank you very much. Now that we're not recording, are there any questions? So you guys got to see how my squash plant works. My next scheduled live session is Mondays at 4 o'clock. Okay. I try to be available during the week, like I said before, and to ask questions. You can always go to your Zoom account and type in that meeting number, okay, the 856